to. I felt really both inspired and equipped. I just saw a movie that used the phrase, hope is not a strategy. And I came into this training just, okay, I gotta hope that the Lord's gonna provide here. And of course, biblically I understood it, but now I feel like I've got tools, resources, strategy, like practical things that I would have never thought of without this training, and a cohort of people that I get to share it with. And so both of those things are just hugely encouraging.
One way that I was personally encouraged during this training was just that for so often as a pastor's wife, I feel like I'm just tagging along in Trent's ministry, or like, so I'm the pastor's wife, or, you know, he's a camp speaker and I'm just the speaker's wife, and I'm just there, but not really a part of the ministry. And so throughout this training, I really felt like the Lord is just calling me out, like, no, this is your ministry as well. It's not just Trent's that you're like standing by his side. And I'm really excited about that.
Having gone through the training, I feel more prepared to be a Standing Stone shepherd. I think there's so many just like, what does it even look like? What does my day-to-day look like? And I didn't just get one picture, I got multiple pictures from the two trainers of guys that did things very differently, and lots of different voices in the room. And I just felt affirmed that, you know, what I felt like the Lord was calling me to do, that I had the freedom to do that. And then I got resources on how to do that, and tools, and even just some guardrails and some really good ways that I kind of went in thinking, well, maybe I go this way, and just good, clear direction of like, we just have not seen that work well. And so, yeah, avoiding pitfalls, that was just a big thing. And then just the freedom to be who I am as a shepherd, that's huge.
Yeah, I think they gave us some really specific tools, like different inventories we can use, books that we can read and that we can also recommend to those that we meet with, and just those practical tips of like, this is how I implement it. This is how long I wait to even bring something like this up, or just here's a phrase that I use to get a conversation going. Those type of things are so helpful as we're starting out and navigating those conversations.
Yeah, we're both note takers, and it was interesting at the end to see, you know, we just had pages filled with notes, and so I'm excited to just keep dissecting that and using those resources and going back to them.
It was really great having both Todd and Kyle doing the training, because they both were so open and authentic about their experience, and they weren't afraid to say, well, like, you just said you did it this way, but I actually do the opposite. And just to get that view of like, it's not like everyone does it exactly the same way. It's like, well, I found this works for our family or for our ministry. I found that this works with the pastors that I'm meeting with. And so it's great to just see like real life, this is how it looks, but it's not the same for every shepherd.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, there was also just like unity throughout that. I feel like sometimes when you show distinctions of, well, you can do it this way or this way, it kind of creates like enmity, and you feel like you kind of got to team up, or like, okay, am I this school or that school? And it just never felt that way. It just felt a lot of freedom, just good camaraderie, good laughter, and an honoring and appreciation for each other. It never felt like it got sophomoric or negative. You know, just the training team was great. Just even how they honored just us, Carrie, it just felt like a really unified team. It felt like an embodiment of the values we've learned from Standing Stone. Through the training, we got a really deeper and more, I think, accurate picture of what the culture looks like. That's something you kind of have to see in action and hear deeper more, and just what the ministry looks like. And so the ministry is so inspiring. Like, I just walked away with so much excitement about like the things that I get to step into in pastors' lives, and just knowing that there are spaces where there is opportunity to help proactively and in response to tough situations. I think that especially in that proactive part, I got an expanded picture of that, of just, this is not just a crisis response ministry. So it just felt like there was wisdom in that. And then as far as the culture, you could feel it embodied in the people sharing. You could hear it just all throughout the material. It was repeated over and over again. And I think the main word that stands out is health. And health, not at the cost of our health. And that is huge. And I think that even is something that God's called this ministry to step in and just bring awareness to the local church of, we have to be not just modeling for people, but living for people healthy lives. Because I think that modeling thing can just create facades. I know it did for us, me, not you, but me.
Yeah, definitely that health component came through loud and clear, consistently. We want you to be healthy in like all these areas of your lives, not just like this area and forget about that area. And then the other thing about the culture of Standing Stone that really stood out to me that I'm excited about are the cohorts that we've got our cohort with the people that we just trained with, which is fun because like we don't live near any of them really.
Right.
So that'll be great to stay in contact with them. But then also once we are fully funded, we get to have a cohort more in our area. And that's really great because being in ministry can be so lonely, and finding those people that understand can be hard. And I mean, that's why we have Standing Stone Shepherds, because there's that need. And so it's like Standing Stone is also pouring into us that way of giving us the cohorts, and then even like knowing the leadership is going to be checking in with us to make sure that we're staying healthy ourselves. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, I if I could chime in again, I think I went into Standing Stone having a preconceived notion of this is older men and women speaking in, and God removed that as I feel like we've walked through the training. And then honestly, as I looked at the Facebook group, not trying to knock our cohort, but it definitely didn't feel like anybody was in our age and stage of life. They're talking about grandkids. We got second and fourth grader. And I still felt so much unity. Just unity in a really clear way of like, this is what we get to do together. Unity in a joyful God call in our lives. I mean, just so many things. I just never felt like we were the odd man out. So it was a really great time.